thanks for watching my lesson. This is going to be on a live version of The Thriller's Gone by B.B.King. This is taken from the Live in Africa 74 gig that you'll be able to find on YouTube. I've done this song before, but Joe Bonamass's version. I figured I should probably do B.B.King's since it's his song, and I didn't want to do the studio version because I'm sure there's plenty of tutorials for that particular solo or those solos on YouTube already. As far as I'm aware, there isn't one for this. The intro to this video was me doing the intro solo, the main solo and the outro solo. This lesson's going to cover the first two of those, the intro and the main. And I've got a new Patreon page, so I've put the, I'm going to put, by the time this is released, I'm going to put the outro one on the Patreon page, as well as a backing track. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. So it's in B minor. Most of these versions are in B minor. I think occasionally it's in C, but this is B minor. I'm not going to describe the chord shapes, but I'll quickly go over what they are now. 12 bars. So the first 4 bars are B minor. And then we've got 2 bars, the 5th and the 6th bar in E minor. And then 2 more bars in B minor. We've then got a G major 7 for the 9th bar, F sharp dominant 7 for the 10th bar, and then the 11th and the 12th are back to B minor. In this particular live version, when they get to the end, they kind of jam out on the B minor for a while. The outro solo I'm going to put on the Patreon is just over those 12 bars. It doesn't cover the sort of the licks he does for the holding of the B minor at the end, but they're quite relatively easy to work out. So yeah, mostly I think he only uses B minor pentatonic notes, possibly a few others, I'm not sure. Well, maybe we'll discuss them if we come across them in the lesson. But without further ado, let's start doing the intro solo. So all 3 solos basically start the same and end the same. It's the bits in the middle that differ for each one. So starting off with the intro solo, we're going to do this. So what we've got there is very important in this solo as well if you want to try and get as close to B.B.King's sound as possible, which I obviously don't achieve, but I can tell you the notes he's playing. Trying to imitate his touch is no easy feat, but there's a lot of cutting things off with the right hand. Very kind of precise and clean playing. So we start off, which is striking the B note, the root note, twice. So that's 7th fret on the high E string. So a little bit of vibrato on the first one, and then play it again, cut it off with the right hand. And if you want, also kind of take your finger off a bit on the left. So 2 on the 7, stop it. And then 10, 12 on the E string again, and then 12 on the B. A little bit more vibrato, and then again mute. So we're then going to pick the 12 on the E string again, and we're going to bend it up twice, a whole step, and we're not going to sound a release on either of those. Cut it off, and then so after the 2 bends, so that's 12 on the B, 10 on the E, pick the 12 and bend it up a step again, don't sound a release, pick the 12 again and pull off to the 10. It's a real quick pull off that. And then finish that little phrase with 12 again on the B. Cut it off. And then the next bit is going to be, so that's picking the 10 on the E again, and then picking it again and hammering onto the 12. So far we've got after we picked the 10 and then picked it again and hammered onto the 12, we're then going to pick the 12 again and go up a step and do that move again. So bend up, don't sound the release, pick the 12 again and pull off. So. And then finish that little bit with 12 again on the B string, bit of vibrato. And then we want to pick the 10 again, and then pick the 12 again and bend up a step. And then we do this classic B.B.King move of picking the root note an octave up on the E string, which in this case is the 19th fret, and then slide down. So far. And then we've got this lick. Which is the trickiest bit we've come across so far, and essentially what we're doing there is picking the 10th on the E string, kind of a little micro bend, and then the 7th, and then 10-7 on the B string, and then we want 7-9 on the G string, and then finish with 7 on the B, 7 on the E. As I said earlier, he's very clean, and he's not really letting these sort of, he's not letting these notes bleed into each other. He's kind of, so even though we're rolling our finger and we're using the same finger to cover it, we're trying not to let them ring out at the same time. So if I do that slowly, as opposed to, and I'm just doing that by, as I say, just kind of rolling it as I hit the appropriate note. And now we're coming to the end, so after the we've got yeah, we're going to bend that and release it, put off to the 10, pick it again, put off to the 10 again, play the B on the, play the 12th fret on the B string twice. This time we vibrato the second one, not the first. And then after a very short pause, I can't remember if it comes in on the, possibly the first beat, we're going to go. So that's picking the 10, hammering onto the 12, and then pulling off again on the E string. Play the 12 and bend up a step again, don't sound the release this time. Pick it again on the 12, pull off to the 10. And then play the 12 on the B, on the B string, yep. Just the once, vibrato, and then we come into this last lick which each of the 3 solos ends with, which is and that's by far the hardest part of all of these solos because of the motion of where the direction our pick is going over certain strings. But what it essentially is notes wise is, so we're going to kind of break it up into little groups. So first bit is 10, 7 on the E string, 7 on the B, and then the next bit is 7 on the G, then 9 on the G, and then 7 on the B again. So and then to finish that first part of this phrase, it's 7 on the G, and then 9 on the D. vibrato on that last note. And then we finish with 7 again on the G, 9, 7 on the D, 9 on the A. And then a double stop where we hit 7 and 7 on the G and the B strings. You're going to be barring 7 on all 3 of these top strings, so if you accidentally hit the E when you do that, that's fine. So very slowly. So let's go over that really slowly then. The tricky bit is getting these 3 7s in a row, the 7th fret on the E, the B and then the G. And don't forget to slide down when you do that double stop at the end. Like I say, break that up into three bits. So this bit, and then, and just tag this bit on the end. And that's the first solo. Let's move on to the main solo. The main solo then is going to start very similar. Like I say, the beginning and the end of each solo is quite similar. So it's going to be 7 twice on the high E string again, with the mute. And then 10, 12 on the E string, but this time we're going to pick the 12th fret on the B string twice. So, and then mute again. And then we got this move, which is a so it's not quite a full step, but it's a bend and release on the 12th of the E string. And then pull off to the 10th, so. And then we do this move, which is so 12 on the B, 10, 12 on the E, back to 12 on the B with a bit of vibrato, slight pause, and then 10, 12 again on the E string. And then another slight pause, and we go 12 on the B, 10 on the E, and then 10 again, this time hammer onto the 12. And then we do another bend and release on the 12, pulling off to the 10, but there's a slightly different kind of inflection to this one. Just a slightly quicker bend and release, I guess. Actually, that's more like it, so. So after you've done that, play the 12 again on the B, and then do the classic B.B.King move this time, which is to quickly play the 10 on the E and then 12 again on the B. So and make sure you cut that off really quickly. And then 12 again on the B, 10 on the E, and then bend up twice, a whole step, no sounding of the release on the 12th fret of the E. So putting that all together. And then we come back up to the octave up, so 19th fret on the E string, but this time we're going to pick it 4 times and slide down again on the 4th. And then we got the lick that we had in the first solo. So just a reminder, slight bend on the 10th fret of the E, then 7 on the E, then 10-7 on the B, then 7-9 on the G, and then finish with 7 on the B, 7 on the E, try not to let them ring out. And then that lick, which was also in the first solo, which is bend and release on the 12th of the E, pull off to the 10, and then pick the 12 again and pull off to the 10 again. 12th fret on the B twice. And then that bit, which is different from the first solo, so after we've done, we're going to pick the 12 again on the B, and then 10-12 on the E, and then pick the 12 again and pull off to the 10, and then pick the 12 again and bend up one step. Don't sound the release, pick the 12 again, pull off to the 10. Finish with one pick of the 12th fret on the B. Bit of vibrato. So from this bit, and then we finish this one in exactly the same way that we did the first one, which is. So a quick reminder again, 10-7 on the E, 7 on the B, 7-9 on the G, 7 on the B, 7 on the G, 9 on the D, and then finish with 7-9, 7-9, and then you double stop. And that's the main solo, which is going to conclude this YouTube lesson. I'm going to go through that second solo, the main solo, at a slow pace now. Most people know this by now, but in case you don't, you can always slow down these YouTube videos if that was still too fast, which you probably was. I always say I'm going to do it slow and then I do it pretty much full speed. So yeah, I hope that's helped. Let me know if you've got any questions, and if you wish to and you want to know how to play the third solo, it's very similar, but I'll have a full coverage of it on Patreon. But essentially, starts the same, ends the same, middle's different, but there we go. Thank you for watching. See you for the next one. Thanks.